you kickstarted it, which, yeah, that means that you actually do things in life instead of just talking about it and trying to make it perfect, and that being the enemy of done.
Welcome back to another episode of Airdrie Inside. This is a very inside Airdrie Inside because I am here with the creative brainchild behind our organization, Britton. Britton, welcome to the show.
Thanks for this, Chris. I needed to sit in this chair and put myself through this.
I am really glad to have you on the show because you're usually working so hard behind the camera, and I've known you for a long time. Back when you used to cover the Mustangs as a reporter, that's where we first got to know each other. And one of the things I always loved about working with you and being in a situation where you were writing a story about one of my players or about the team is how much you actually cared about telling the right story. You know, you seem to really be committed to getting it right, and that always stuck with me. So fast forward to 12 years later, and now we're working together on this project.
Yeah. And I'm glad that came through even when it's high school football, and it always got me, like, I didn't grow up around it where it mattered as much as it does to, like, Gabriel. I feel like I'm getting his name, Gabe.
No, Gabe Ascenda,
It matters life and death to him and to American kids that are playing football. But yeah, I didn't grow up around it mattering a lot, but I care about getting good photos and a good story, and the quotes matter, and, like, to those kids that read it and their moms and dads, that matters.
Well, and that's why, like, having local media and local establishments tell the story behind Airdrie goes so far to build our community, right? Because those kids feel connected when they see their name in the paper. They rush to it, they share it online, they're excited about it, you know. And it's led me to want to start Airdrie Inside. So tell me about a little bit about your motivation behind Airdrie Inside as well.
Yeah, I had this in the back of my head for quite a while, 5, 6, 7, 8. A while.
Okay.
I don't even know, like, the exact moment. Like, I did 36 with Airdrie Life magazine alongside stories that I was doing. So, like, knowing that I like the medium and I like to listen to podcasts, I wanted to start doing that. So I just did audio to start. So it's been in my head for a while, like 7, 8 years. When I was a journalist at the Airdrie Echo and, like, doing photo and video stuff, I always knew that I wanted to keep playing the video card and getting better at that. So yeah, it's been in my head for quite a while. Did I know it was going to be Airdrie Inside and that I'd be doing it with you, Chris? No, that was December 28th or whatever you put that out on LinkedIn that this is happening. So I'm glad you did, because Josh, my editor, and I were talking about doing something similar, and glad that we did this.
Well, and I have said it before, there's nobody else I'd want to share this with. You were the kind of prototypical partner I had in mind. Otherwise, this would have stayed in my basement with a webcam pointed right at me as a hostage video, and the production value wouldn't have been there, but we would have at least been able to tell some stories.
And you did it. Like, we got it started. You got it started. You kickstarted it, which, that means that you actually do things in life instead of just talking about it and trying to make it perfect, and that being the enemy of done.
I've always found people struggled to get started and to take the first step, and that's the hardest part of the journey. But after the first step comes the second step, the third step, the fourth step, and with each one of those steps it becomes more common and more familiar and easier to do. So for me, I've always felt, you know, if this is something I'm passionate about, take that first step right away and figure out if this is the path you're going to go on. You can always step back,
right? And taking that first step forward and doing something is way better than just talking or thinking about it for a while. Not that I wasn't doing anything else, but, like, I'm glad we're doing this now.
Now, prior to joining us at Airdrie Inside, you have your own business as well. So tell me about that. Yeah.
So I Evolve Media. I graduated from State's photojournalism program 15 years ago now.
Wow, okay. We're getting old, aren't we?
We're getting old. Yeah, it's good, though. I graduated from State, started I Evolve Photo, started I Evolve Media, turned into I Evolve Media 2018 or 19 whenever I decided to change the name because I wanted to do more than just photo.
Yeah.
And so I was always doing that on the side. Did the newspaper journalist thing. I think everyone should do that in their 20s if you're so inclined. Because you meet a lot of people and make a lot of good contacts. So I was doing that alongside the business all the time since 2011. Always some freelancing or like working directly for Post Media for a few years, and then building up the business. And then 2016 we had our little guy who's now 8.5, pushing 9.
So little.
Yeah, not so little. And realized that this whole evenings, weekends for $30K a year doesn't work.
Can't pay your bills with dreams.
No, and not that I'm making huge amounts more, but just it wasn't flexible. It was reasonably flexible, but like, I can't go doing that while having a kid and my wife's work. So I'm glad that we made the decision that, okay, let's try working up this side business into something more substantial and the main focus, instead of that plus working, you can't really call it 9 to 5, whatever the hours were at a weekly newspaper, to try and get that out. So doing that all along.
You've always had a love of storytelling. What do you like about this medium? What do you like about the ability to bring somebody else's story out?
Podcasts or just anything?
Period. Just the storytelling aspect of it. So
from the start, I'm deferential. So like, we could have talked about Cody for 10 more minutes right there, and I would have been fine. Like Cody, our previous guest,
right?
And I probably would have kept pushing that. I'm glad that you made us just start this podcast.
Absolutely.
I
have some.
So there's a love of other people, curiosity. I guess that's it. Just a love of people and a curiosity of their stories, about what makes them tick, about what they are here to do. And for some reason, that's my thing to do, is to talk about what other people are here to do, and try and highlight them and give them a spotlight and help other people know, love, understand each other a little bit better.
Now, in your time here in Airdrie, what have been some of your favorite stories that you've either reported on or shot video on or did photos with? What is, in your career, what has stuck out?
Our first few podcasts, like we talked about our shared list of people, like, oh, okay, you went to Lewis and Vanessa, of course. That would have been so there's people like that, Lewis, Vanessa, and Bellegarde's Dragons, and Airdrie Martial Arts Center. They had tons of cool stories. Ryan Strasnitsky, who we had on lately, he, like, having any relation to telling that story about the Humboldt Broncos tragedy, just how that unfolded. That one I think hit me the most. Not favorite in a heartwarming way, but being able to relate to his story and to talk with him, that one hit me like deeply. So that one meant a lot. Like at the time, sitting down with him in his hotel room and having to do an interview with him, he's the only person that I've ever told, and I'll swear, which I'm not much of a swear, but I'm like, you can tell me to off if you need to. I don't have any right to be here. So like that was my favorite in a way, because like it makes you feel something, and that's to try and see someone be resilient and to be there when they're just months from the darkest days. And like that one I think meant a lot to me. It was photos and writing, a little bit of video. That was when I was just kind of starting out, and it's not my favorite video. Find it on airdrielife.com somewhere. But like my favorite in the sense that it was talking about something hard and seeing someone's going through that and being resilient and trying to still be themselves and find what that means now. So that one mattered a lot.
And to see him when we had him in at Glitch the other day, to be so not surviving but thriving and being so vibrant, must be kind of coming full circle for you.
Like you're just enthralled with how positive he was, and I'm amazed at how he's doing, how he's chosen to take life and face it. People facing adversities. Our other friend Love Preach, she's right up there with my top favorite stories.
I can tell.
I've become her PR person. It's like, just love her, and like she's like a sister to me. And like going into journalism, there's a certain amount of detachment that you're supposed to have from a story, I think, is what I was told. But also just live life. And I think the best stories are when you get right in there. So that I'm trying to live into. When I was in journalism, somewhere in there, they're like, find your voice. what do you mean?
Yeah.
I thought that so like I didn't spend a whole lot of time pondering that at the time. It kind of sat with me. I'm like, okay, cool. How, what? I don't know. So I'm still figuring that out, but I think it's coming to me a little bit clearer now, 15 years in.
Yeah.
So yeah, favorite stories are people that I can see going through some conflict, adversity, triumphing over it over the long run, and facing darkness with some hope, with a next step in life that can help be an inspiration to others. So I want to help tell that.
Well, and I can tell how much you love being a conduit to those stories being told, and making sure the people who deserve the stories being told actually get them told. That's one of the motivations for me starting this, was to hear the stories behind the heroes that we have, like Lovepreet, like Ryan, like like Hien at Petite Saigon, just
such a personality,
or even Big Gabe, doing what he's doing.
And to talk to him now,
right,
you'll treasure that for the rest of your life, and to know that you're part of the foundation of his life and the journey, and to hear an 18-year-old say, like, you've been a big part of my football career, but like that means something. Like, this is his life, and like, it's going to be a big one.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be somebody we're going to be bragging about for a long time. Here in Airdrie, as a city too, right?
Yeah.
Like, I find we all took a part in raising the kids in this community. So,
and good for you. Like, you've leaned into that.
Well, it's
how many years of coaching now?
This is going to be my 25th year of coaching. So
we're getting old now.
Yeah, it's at first I was the young guy with a lot of experience. Like at 15 years, people are like, oh, you've coached 15 years now. I'm like, I coached 25. They're like, yeah, that sounds about right. I'm like, what does that mean? No, wait a minute. Just gray hair. Receding
I'm
hairline,
following you.
not the body type resembling a football player anymore. That kind of thing. But no, it's been a huge honor. The truth be told about coaching is I enjoy the game. I enjoy being a part of it. It's a passion. So as much as I'm giving something to somebody else, they're giving it to me too, right? So you got to have that give and take, right?
And that's a good way to live life.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk to you about the latest project that you're working on outside of Airdrie Inside.
Yeah.
So tell me about it.
Yeah. Talking about Home of Hope.
Absolutely.
And I'm making sure I really enunciate that fully. Home of Hope. A project. They started in Rwanda with orphanages. However, they're based out of Red Deer. So the founder, Pastor Brian Thompson, I've known him and his family for 25 years, 26 years.
There you go.
Somehow through my sister meeting him and his church that they were part of in Red Deer 26 years ago, 1999. So I've known them for that long. They started Home of Hope in 2006. I think it was the first year. Just somehow in traveling, he went there and realized that there's a need, like overwhelming need. Like they're part of the solution now at helping thousands, but like there's so much need. But to not be overwhelmed by that and to just do the next best thing or next. Yeah. So
what does Home for Hope do?
So Home of Hope is orphanages, housing, and they have educational and what other like microloans, different things to help women and children. They rescue babies and education and help for men as well. So they operate in Kenya is the one that we focused on for this story, as well as Rwanda, India, and I'm not sure where else. I don't have that off the top of my head, but yeah.
So tell me about the story.
Yeah.
So you went to, did you go to Kenya?
No, so I have not traveled there yet. That is yet to be. So like being a journalist, knowing this family, the founders, the story, I've always wanted to go. Have not yet. Have been sponsoring a kid since 2006.
Very cool.
We're sponsoring 2 now, and so I always kind of knew that I wanted to. The founder's son is also into video, so I'm like, Ryan's got it. He'll do it. And and they've done a lot of photos, a lot of writing.
Very cool.
They've shared their story all along. But last summer, one of the other guys who has been familiar with their story, his name is Dion Weeb. He's been there about a decade ago, so he's 10 years younger than me. He's late 20s instead of late 30s, and he went there about 10 years ago. And he's always kind of had that thought in his head too, that he wanted to help tell their story better like do something for them,
Right.
documentary wise. We thought, he came to me last summer and he's like, do you want to help me with this? Is this something you'd be interested in? Like biting off, not a full like feature length, but like 10-minute documentary kind of goal. Would you be in for this? And so I said, sure. Yeah. This has been in the back of my head for a long time. I guess I better say yes. So that's kind of a theme. It takes me a long time to get to stuff, but I'm working on stuff in the background. I'm getting better at the craft and whatnot. So yeah, last July, August, somewhere there, we said yes. We got in touch with Pastor Brian, Carissa, his daughter, that helps him with it. We want to do this documentary. What do you think? We understand that budget probably isn't a thing, and we're game for that. We'll try and figure it out as we go, kind of thing. He had just put out a book in the last few years, so I'd read that, cataloging like hundreds of stories. I don't know. Anyways, a lot of stories. So we had a lot of good material to go with, but how do we focus that? So yeah, been working on a process from Muse Storytelling. I'm going to talk about them because I like them, where you do story finding first. You start with curiosity.
Yes.
You don't lead with all the creative ideas. Like, just listen, start with listening. So we had a list of ideas. Can we talk to some of these people and see what stories might stick? What should we prioritize here? Because we have a lot, but like, what should we focus on? So we started our 10 calls. And Pastor George Akello was one who rose to the top. We want to do all the rest eventually. Of course. But like, yeah, he's the first one. So his story is he joined or met Pastor Brian, I think 2008, 2009, kept in touch, in Kenya. There. He has like a background in engineering or something. And he had felt led towards like, this isn't necessarily what I'm meant to do in life. Started doing some, like, he took some Bible school or something, started doing some like helping meet needs of people on the street, living in the slum. I'm gonna mess it up, so I'm not gonna say it, but it starts with a K. A slum in Kenya, in Nairobi, and there's like 700,000 people there living in a very small area in not good circumstances, and he was living there among them, realizing somewhere in that time in 2011 that there's this need. They heard on the news that there was babies found thrown out in the dump.
Wow.
That there's just this desperation of like women not having the support, violence, bad circumstances, that these babies are coming into the world and no hope. So they throw their kid away.
Wow.
And he realized that they wanted to do something about that. They put up a sign, please don't throw away your babies. We love children. We love kids, or however they put it. I can't remember.
Yeah.
God loves your kid. Anyways, it's something to that effect, that like will help you, and a number. And I think by September they had a few calls. I think something didn't work out a few times, but eventually it led to the rescue of a little guy who was days old. Well, no, he would have been hours old, probably. Umbilical cord still attached.
Wow.
And yeah, little Samuel. So Samuel Dowdy. So he was found, and that's the first kid. So that we got to tell the story of Pastor George Akello rescuing Samuel. Samuel's now about 13. We got to see him. He was on camera for a little bit in it. So like, we didn't go, but George knew someone who could help with the filming there. Dialogue back and forth. We kind of knew what the framework of the story was, and we could hand it off to him. Like, here's what we want from the interview. Here's some questions. It turned out someone from Calgary who, was able to go. Grant Rogers. I've known him for years, Pastor Grant, and when he said like 2 weeks prior to the trip in November 2024, I can go too. Yay, good. We got like
perfect.
A wingman or someone there that we can dialogue with and like help us get this over the line. And so he helped film there alongside Brian and two other people that I'm going to mess up their names. I'm sounding like I'm really terrible with names, Chris.
So that's okay. So you have a 10-minute documentary.
Yeah.
That's the
goal. Yeah. It's 14 now.
14?
We actually landed on 14, overshot.
Where can we see it?
Yeah. Well, you can see the trailer online.
Yeah.
And that's homeofhope.ca/documentary. Okay. And they've been screening it throughout the summer. We're here in June. We've got screenings throughout Alberta and a little bit in BC and Ontario, I think, as well. So like, because Pastor Brian knows a bunch of different network of churches people, it's pretty easy for him to like, I go and talk to these people already. He's done talks, but now like, here's a different avenue. You can watch this documentary to see what is happening on the ground and the
of course.
impact. And that's been a different thing to offer. So that's what they've been doing, and people have been taking them up on it. And there's, I don't know if they're at 20 scheduled, but yeah, they've done a bunch of screenings. They've gotten the biggest donation that they've ever had in their
That's fantastic.
in their existence. And it's meaning that they can go from helping hundreds of kids to helping thousands. And I just got an email from them. It might have come through yesterday. I read it today. They're moving forward. They're already buying land with this biggest donation that they've ever had. They're buying land. They're building a place to help, like right next to the slum, to help women and children and men, education, housing, rescuing, helping be a light in a place that's dark.
Well, you know, it's funny. Stories like this always resonate with me because I find we sometimes focus on the size of the problem, and it's overwhelming.
Very.
Right? Because you're not going to fix everything. You're not going to fix poverty in Africa from Airdrie or from Red Deer.
Or homelessness in Calgary or Alberta.
Exactly, right? But you can find some way to help and some way to get started. And this is a very small project that started out helping one kid.
Yes.
And now we're at thousands.
Yeah.
So
they rescued 600 and some. Yeah.
It's more focusing on what you can do versus looking at what is insurmountable. So I love stories like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, like Pastor Brian, he was 48 or so when he went from doing his other role, which had been pastoring or Bible school, leading different stuff, to taking this on.
Right.
So new dreams and new ideas of what to do can happen in life. And that's been encouraging to me, like what the next chapter might be, or
Excellent.
Knowing that documentaries was something that I've wanted to do and be a part of, and have done in a minor form, and like nothing knocking levels of journalism that I've done so far, but this has been really good to be a part of, and planting a seed for doing more like this.
Excellent. So if people want their documentary shot, you're their guy.
Yeah, hit me up. Britton at iEvolve.media.
Britton, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you so much for supporting the show the way you do, for being my partner in this journey. And thank you for telling the story of Airdrie. It's really important to me that our city gets the spotlight it deserves. And you have played a role in that ever since I've been here. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks. It matters. And I'm happy to be a part of it, that this is somehow my role in this world.
Perfect. And thank you for joining us here on Airdrie Inside. We're going to be back with more episodes shortly.